In today's video, I'm going to share with you some tips on how we can have clean, inspiring lines and inspiring look and movement in our dance. A lot of this can also be used in competitions, so let's jump into it. Hello everybody, it's Philippe de Barros here, and it's my joy to share with you my passion for dance. I specialize in West Coast swing and solo dance with influences and other styles like ballet, hip-hop, contemporary, and more. So here is the first tip in having inspiring movement and lines in your dancing, and it may not be obvious, or it may be obvious, but this is going to be posture. So I've mentioned this before in other videos. So as leaders and followers, it's really nice when we see somebody with good posture. What I personally like to do is to think about the chest coming diagonally upwards like this. So this will help stop us from hunching like this, collapsing our frame, but diagonally upwards. And also think about lengthening the back of our neck and have the chin roughly parallel with the floor. But I'm not overthinking it too much because you might become really stiff and be thinking about, am I parallel with the ground? Of course, you might sometimes break that and look down, but we come back to sort of the home base generally like this. I also like to think about sometimes doing this, the shoulders coming up like this to the side and then down. Ooh, that feels really nice. And that's from a really good channel, which is Claudia Dean World. I got that from, so thank you, Claudia. So, and I can also think about lengthening the bottom of the spine down towards the ground and also the head up towards the ceiling. So it creates this type of lengthening as well. So this is much nicer, in my opinion, than dancing like this with a hunched back looking down as a leader or as a follower. Instead, we can be like this, proudly showing our dancing to people. So that's the first tip about posture. So this is what works for my body. So let me know in the comments below if you find this helpful. And for our second tip, we're thinking about having turnout. I've really been enjoying doing ballet recently. I've been doing classes online and also started my first class as well at my local dance school with Jazzy Dance Studios in Lisbon. And turnout, here's some things which I have learned so far about turnout. Bear in mind, I'm no ballet expert, but I'm really enjoying learning ballet and the technique. So what we think about is putting our legs together here in a parallel position. And we're going to think about turning them out from the glutes, the buttocks, as some people might say, like this. There we are. Ballet, obviously, people might turn out a lot more. West Coast swing is more relaxed, as it's more of like a street dance. So I'm thinking about turning from those glutes. I know that might sound a bit weird. What does that mean to turn out from the glutes? But let's put our feet together again. Now I'm gonna what I tend to do, think about, is push into the ground, and I'm thinking about my muscles here going outwards, and that's gonna help my glutes turn outwards. If you're doing ballet, we would often think about tucking this in as we do that, which makes those glutes switch on, and then we can turn out like this. So this is the ballet way of doing it. Of course, we may not need to worry so much for West Coast swing about tucking in the pelvis and so on. But generally, I'm going to think about turning out from that glutes area. And now it looks much nicer than if we sickle in. This is the dreaded sickling in. Can you see? Not so good. So this is sickling in. Turning out, I can think about the heel coming forwards, and I might want to think about the toes coming backwards. That might help as well. So heel forwards and toes backwards. But because it's West Coast, we're going to relax more. And so we can apply this when we're kind of moving forwards and backwards. We're thinking about that turnout there. As I'm coming forwards, you could think about the heel coming forwards. And if you're going backwards, it's those toes, these toes here, coming backwards like this. So forwards from the heel. From here, forwards from there, and then backwards from there. You might want to think about that if it helps you keep that turnout. So that is a little look at turnout. It helps you in your third position as well, in your anchor step, which gives you greater balance, as opposed to being more like this. You have less balance here, more balance, and it looks nicer as well, I feel, as well as being more grounded. What's also really good about this is that I can do things like hooks and crosses and weaves and so on, and having that turnout just makes it look lovely. So if I'm doing a hook, it means I'm putting that foot behind, crossing behind, and I might come out again. But with that turnout there, it looks really nice. I think it looks really cool. As opposed to kind of like sickling in like this, it's kind of more like this, turning out. Like there, hooks. And then crosses is the same in front. So rather than being here, I'm more like this, crossing in front and crossing in front. Delicious. It looks really nice. So if you're doing competitions and the judges see you've got a nice turnout, that can be really nice points for you already there without them even having to see much dancing. They look and they see one moment they see you doing this and they think, that person has either been trained in solo dance or they know what they're doing. And also what's really good about turnout is when you're hitting certain pictures and lines, having that turnout can add that extra va-va-voom to it. So imagine that I'm kind of, if I'm a leader and I'm kind of lunging up towards my follower like this. And now with this turnout, it adds a really nice look to the picture. It kind of like finishes that line there. So I'm also thinking about straightening from the back of the knee. So rather than being kind of relaxed, if I straighten from the back of the knee, turn out from the glute here, it can add a really nice look to that line here. Woo, love it. And if I go on the other side, we can see that there. As well, turning there. Of course, you can choose to break this rule, and you might break the lines like this. If it's kind of like hip hop, you might do more, breaking the lines. So it's up to you to change that. But this is a technique which you might want to use, which is really good to know. Now for our third tip, this is the one which I really like. It's the dreaded knees coming in, and how do we avoid it? This happens to both leaders and followers, but it can happen a lot to followers as well, especially on those whips. So what often happens is that I might be stepping forwards here, and now I want to come around, and now I'm in this horrible picture, and then the photographer takes a picture. Brad Reading, you probably know what I'm talking about here, and we see this. How can we avoid that? Well, first of all, when does this happen? Well, it happens when we're kind of reaching out and doing things like this. Followers, if you're in your whip, coming into the whip, that you might often do this, where we step here, or in the second part of the whip, where we go 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we step here. Before we step too early, and this foot hasn't pivoted yet, and it's really in this position. So what we can do, we can think about bringing the feet together before we pivot. A pivot is doing this. That's where the problem comes. So allow me to show you. So imagine now I've stepped here, and now I want to do the dreaded step out here. What I'm going to do is bring the feet together and pivot at the same time, and then step out. And now, whew, much nicer, hey? So let's show you that one again. So I'm stepping out, the feet coming together like this, and then I come here. So for the followers, how would that work? So I'm going forwards on 1, bringing those feet together and pivot, and then step back on 2, 3, and 4. We do the same here and now on 5. So it's 5, 6, 7, and 8. So once again, it's 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And there we are. It really helps to get that much nicer look to your dance. And now for our fourth tip. This is thanks to my friend Doug Silton, which is a collapsible frame, which I think can help your dance to look more dynamic. So when people dance, sometimes we often keep the frame in the same position. For example, as a follower doing the sugar push, we might keep the frame like this, which is fine. But with the collapsible frame, this is where the frame is actually dynamic and moving, coming in and then coming out again, like this. As a leader, it's the same thing, for example, on a left side pass. Let me show you from this side. Left side pass, and a 1, 2. So here it's always in the same length. But now, if I show you this way round and collapse that frame, you can see it coming out and then coming in. So if I show you from this side, you'll see me doing this, where it's coming in the frame and then coming out again. I'll just show you again from this side here. So it's a 1, 2 coming in and then coming out slowly. And what I'm thinking about there is that it's coming from the lats, the movement of the frame. So if you put the hands down to the side and then I lift up the hands, that's coming from the lats. So I'm not thinking about tensing those muscles and pulling in and out. It's more coming from our lats, pulling it in and out. Ooh, good exercise to try. So that collapsible frame, as Doug Silton would say, is that we kind of bring the elbow towards the rib cage and then coming out again. So I do like this. So 1 and a 2 coming towards and then coming out again like that. As a leader or as a follower, if I'm doing a sugar push, it's and a 1, 2, 3, and a 4, 5, and a 6. Let's do that again. And a 1, 2 coming in, 3, and a 4, 5, and a 6. And now for another tip is that if we're pointing our feet, hitting a nice frame, a nice shot, for example, I might be doing this. There we are. What I'm thinking about here is some cool things. What I'm thinking about is I'm stepping here. I'm thinking about maybe having some turnout there, bringing this foot forwards, peeling it off the ground, and then I'm pointing it with that turnout, so the heel's coming forwards, twisting from the glute, straightening behind that knee, and I'm also pointing down towards the ground, and those toes are kind of pointed, but they're not crunched like this. They're just extending that line more. So I'm really having the muscle in the leg twisting towards the outside, straightening there. Of course, if it's hip hop, I might want to do something like this. That's fine as well, with a flex foot, or like this with a flex foot. There's also the attitude position, where I might be doing the same thing with a bent leg, but it's coming through my midline here. It's not opening up here like I'm the famous dog by a fire hydrant. It's more like crossing here in front. This is my midline, so the foot's kind of like is bent, but at that midline with the knee turning out from the glutes like this, much nicer, and it's pointing there. So if you found any of these tips helpful, please do write below in the comments below. If you have any of your own ones as well, please do share. And I would love to invite you to subscribe to this channel by clicking on the subscribe button below, and also by clicking on that bell icon, which helps you get notified when videos are published. And in case you're wondering, I offer private coaching online where we can work together. This can be via Zoom or another platform, and I can watch you dance and help you and give you drills and exercises to do. Or we can also watch your videos back. Maybe they're competitions or practice sessions, and then we can watch them back to help you move forward in your dance journey. So if that sounds good, you're very welcome to contact me. And so guys, I'd like to wish you all a wonderful day. And don't forget, don't be afraid to try those dreams. Check out this next video as well for tips on movement and texture in West Coast swing.